I raced in a Forgotten Championship, and it was all thanks to this man over here. Meet Andrea Poello, creator of Campionato Dimenticati, an Italian storytelling YouTube channel about F1 and racing in general. They started as a Facebook page, and in 2020 they started with YouTube. They are great, really passionate about the sport. For example, you wanna hear about how an Nigerian prince put the Harrow's F1 team in the grave? Yeah, I'm not picking this up, it actually happened. And Andrea told this story not so long ago. But why do I say they? Well, with time, more people join the team. First Yuri, that also creates YouTube videos. For example, he has a series called F1 Story, where he tells the story of every F1 race that's ever happened. He started with 1950 and now is at the end of 1976, if I remember correctly. Mild levels of dedication here. Then the two Matteos join in, Matteo Maero and Matteo Nervo. They don't usually do videos, but they help more with the setup with videos and audio, the more technical stuff. Last but not least, Ilaria. You can see her more on her social pages like Instagram, but she also sometimes do videos. As I said before, they are great, so you should go check their channel out, if you know Italian of course. But why am I saying all this to you? Well, one of their most successful series on YouTube is Scuderie Dimenticate, translated Forgotten F1 Teams, where they tell the stories of, you guessed it, the most forgotten teams in F1 history. And in 2022 they decided to organize an event called the Cartata Dimenticata, where you could race for one of the forgotten teams they told the story of. They liked the event so much that they decided to create a full championship in partnership with RACED. And at the start of the third season I decided to join in. Okay, now that we know the story behind it, let's talk about how this championship works. There will be 6 racing in 5 different circuits all across the north of Italy. We'll start in Milan, then Modena, Pavia, Padua, Pavia again, even if it's called the Europe Grand Prix, and we'll finish in Turin. The format will work like this: pre-qualifying first, where we can race as we can to the starter track. The top 8 teams in pre-qualifying will fight for the top 8 in qualifying, while the other 8 from P9 to P16 will only be able to fight for set position. Qualifying is just a 1 lap, so only an out lap, a flying lap and then an in lap, so it's very important to get your head down and focus without making any mistakes. Last but not least, the race. A 2.5 hour long section where we must do at least 7 pit stops with a mandatory driver and car change. The points will be 12 for the winner, 10 for second, 8 for third, and then 7 for fourth, 6 for fifth, 5 for sixth, and so on for the top 10, with an additional point for the fastest lap. As I said before, everyone will race for a forgotten team that really raced in the past. Unfortunately, we cannot select the team ourselves, but it will be chosen by the organizers. So for the championship, I will be racing as the Spirit.
After an absence of some 15 years is Honda. They won 2 Grand Prix in 1965 and in 1967. In fact, in 1967 they finished 4th in the World Championship. They used to have racing for them the American drivers Richie Ginther and Ronnie Buckman, but here at Silverstone they've got Stefan Johansson and have qualified in 14th place on the grid.
I could tell the story of the Spirit, but it would make an hour-long video if I did, so I'll leave the video from Motori Dimenticati with the full story of this team. Almost forgot to say, the race is not the only way to make points in this championship. There is also what they call the Premio Creatività, or the Creativity Trophy. Basically, the one that fucks around more gets points. The top 3 gains 3 points for first, 2 points for second, and 1 for third, and they make the Creativity Podium. These guys over here are a perfect example. Or even, the Polenta March team unveiled the car for this year, on top of doing interviews to both the team principal and the pilots.
Sì, un buon commento sulle aspettative della stagione.
Ma che dire, siamo molto emozionati di affrontare questo nuovo percorso, nuovo inizio.
Siamo molto felici di essere qui, speriamo in un campionato molto divertente e entusiasmante.
Unfortunately, all this while revealing a normal kart of the circuit we're racing on today. Okay, we're going to have a lot of fun in this championship, I'm sure. Okay, time for a track walk. And while we're at it, I'll introduce you with the driver that we raced with me today. Those are Francesco, Alessandro, Simone and Matteo.
Allora, curva 1, cercare di entrare belli larghi, essere inizialmente decisi con lo sterzo per provare ad iniziare il kart, iniziare a farlo girare, ma ci farà girare soprattutto coi pedali, bisogna aiutarsi coi pedali.
Ok.
Ed essere sensibili col gas, e una volta che lo sterzo è dritto in uscita, dare gas a manetta.
Va bene.
Se tu hai tanto angolo volante, senti che fai fatica a prendere il grip sotto.
Ok.
Quindi comunque bisogna veramente dosare un po'
più
tutto.
sotto sterzo che...
Sì, esatto.
Ok.
Esatto.
Non ce la fa partire di tanto.
Let's also talk about the track. The big kart Rozzano, based in, well, Rozzano, south of Milan, is a very fast and technical circuit with a lot of medium speed, high radius corner. With 10 turns, 4 to the left and 6 to the right, it is a real challenge for us, especially because, I didn't say it before, but it is raining. Not now, but it rained before the race, so the track is all wet now.
Curva inizi a giocare con lo
E cazzo? E che cazzo? Non me la faccio finire il track walk?
No. Ah.
Sì, ma effettivamente, cioè almeno farci finire, dai! No, anche una roba un po' simbolica.
Ma dopo se viene a piovere serio... No, ci devi andare.
Sì, forse è vero, vabbè.
Disappointing way to end the track walk, and we're here for the briefing. Hosted by Nicola Johnny Amiati, the champion with Kopersuka of the first season, and for this year, it will be our race director. They talk about the usual stuff. Race fairly, don't kill anyone, the usual thing. But very important nevertheless. They've also said I could rain during the race, and that we should take the rain trajectories. What are the rain trajectories? Oh well, I don't know. That's the first time I race in the rain. Fortunately, they've explained it to us. Basically, you need to do the exact opposite of what you should do with taking a line. Basically, you need to go completely wide. The car will go straight, but eventually it will start turning. Time to pre-qualify. This will be my first running on this track. Yes, you heard that right. No free practice. This will be my practice. The others have already started, and I'll take the car for Simone. But not before hearing these words from my team.
Scivolosissima.
Non ho capito niente, scusa.
Scivolosissima. Cazzo.
Aperti un attimo. Dove sono? Ok. Zero.
Ancora il braccialetto lo devo vedere? No, zero, va bene, va bene.
If you've ever done a karting race before, you're probably familiar with this system, but basically they put weights in our kart for making competition more fair. Every kart must weigh at least 85 kg to make competition more fair. If you weigh less than this, you need to put some weight in your kart. How much weight you need to put in your kart is declared by a bracelet they give you when you sign up for the race. Fortunately for me, I don't have this problem. Here we go, the first lap in this track starts now as we approach the first corner, a big radius hairpin and... Oh, someone's off already! You can see how bad the conditions are here for everyone. Although it's not raining, the track is already quite wet. And as you see, I'm taking the rain lines. Like here in turn 4, it seems like I'm going straight, but as they say in the briefing, I start turning exactly at the last moment. I don't know if you can feel it, but I don't like this type of racing. I feel really slow. As I approach the back straight, the only part of the circuit where I don't have really big problems, as you'll see as the race continues. As I approach turn 6, a 90-degree turn that honestly scares me. I always have the feeling of going off here, and then a technical section from turn 7 to turn 10. This is a strange sequence of corners to do, especially in the wet, where you basically need to cut 3 corners to do it somewhat good, to then approach the last corner and the final straight, which is pretty long. Also, I am terribly sorry for the quality of the video. Unfortunately, all the rain mixed with the heavy lights of the circuit made from a really bad experience. The qualifying has ended, for me, and I didn't really understand anything from the track. Who would have thought that new track and bad condition equal not understanding a thing?
Com'è andata? Ma non sentivi?
No, non ti sentivo.
Non sentivi?
No. Vabbè.
Com'è andata?
Ok, è stato il campionato italiano drift, ma non importa.
forgot to tell you before, but my team actually found a way to communicate while we were racing. It was pretty easy, it was basically a WhatsApp call. Unfortunately, for some arcane reason, it wasn't working for me. So this entire race I had to do it with no communication with my team. No big deal though for me, because what I think I would do is race as fast as possible on this track. So communication is not really required here, for me at least. Some spins also happen in this pre-qualifying, but trust me, we're only getting started. And for counting those, I will be using this small, innocent icon, might be a reference to something, and trust me, we're gonna need it later. You're probably also asking yourself how we are placing this pre-qualifying. Well,
Come stiamo in posizione? Sesti? Settimi. Ma si abbassa il tempo, normale.
and as Francesco said,
Lui va bene. Deve essere il nostro in periodo, deve essere... Noni? Siamo fuori? No, siamo fuori.
thankfully Matteo knew this track like the back of his hand, and as he completed his lap,
Quinto posto! 59-2!
but Matteo decided to not stop there, and after getting a team into Q2, he decided to double down.
Polle! Polle! Bellissima! Polle nostra!
And the tire is not the only thing they gave Matteo for this pole.
Napone quindi ha preso prima, adesso vediamo la classifica corretta.
Bellissimo! Fantastico!
Una soddisfazione, caro,
Bene, sono felicissimo!
Dove è andato, no?
Poi, allora, secondo me
Era piaciuta di più.
You're probably asking who this guy is. This is just Simone Bergamaschi from DKT Arrows, just the defending champion of 2024 that won 4 out of 6 races last year.
Sì,
Stai cominciando già...
quando il giro secco fanno così.
Dai, se non piove, sì.
Secondo me è che è molto umido. Non so se stia piovendo ancora.
Beh, 2 gocce ci sono adesso e secondo me va a peggiorare. Speriamo che non...
It's true, I don't know if you can feel it by the footage, but the weather here is kinda shit. We've been out of the car for too long though, it's time to get back racing, as everyone is heading for the formation lap, with Matteo taking the wheel for our team.
Madonna quanto scivola. Guarda che roba. È un lago questo, non tracciato.
Non so che cosa sta succedendo, vi stanno posizionando in griglia. Ok, era un giro di ricognizione.
Semaforo! 4.
Via! Dai, stai là.
No, quello dentro non la fa la curva.
Ok, va bene. Vai, da prima la tenuta. Da prima la tenuta. Bene. Ancora dietro. Chi era quella? Chi era il secondo posto?
La Zack Speed si è schiantata.
To the surprise of nobody, the first lap was quite a mess, but Matteo kept his lead and he managed to increase it by a bunch. Told you that I knew this track at the back of his hand. And as every car passes through the finish line, I highly suggest you to subscribe to the channel and like the video. It's free and it helps me a lot. But now back to the race. One up down, 189 to go. But let's just skip forward because I don't have the footage of the other stints, but we will be looking at mine. The 4th stint to be precise.
Pronto? Vai. A posto?
Vai avanti,
Va bene.
Yeah, she's right. It is raining now. Well, am I just lucky? Let's just not think about it and we start the first laps in a main race. As I led by some people already on the track doing the race, we approach the first corner, someone cut it in and... we're off to a great start. Let's just not think about it and continue our race and try to make it as clean as possible. And as I told you before, I don't like this track and I don't like these conditions. As you see right now, I need to get as far as possible to a corner, and on the right moment I'm about to go out of track, the cars start turning. It's not really something real pleasure to do, especially with my racing style. And yeah, you probably are not seeing this, but I am feeling it. It is raining pretty hard and the track is all damp now. Probably that I'll probably add some photos at the end of the video to let you see how much. What I was saying, I probably add some photos at the end of the video. Or even, I could add it now. Wait, I'll add it now. Wait a second, I'll take them. There it is. That's my helmet at the end of my stint. You can see that it was pretty rainy out there. But let's focus back on the race. Where nothing happened actually. It was just me barely keeping the cars on track, trying to not make any mistake. With mixed result actually. The only good part about this is that I wasn't the only one. That doesn't mean that I was perfect, no. And just 2 turns later, yeah, I mentioned it before, but I'll say it another time. It is my first time racing in the rain, also on a new track, and also seems like the rain is getting quite heavier in this last part of my stint. And also, wait a second, is this all? Oh, my camera died out. Well, probably for the better.
It's raining.
After slightly charging back my camera, I kinda zoned out because I was so tired after my stint that I noticed that the race director removed like 50 laps from the count. Why? Because everyone was doing lap time so high that you wouldn't be able to stick with the 2 hour and 30 minutes maximum time of the race. That meant that everyone had to think about another strategy for the pit stop. Fortunately for us, when we noticed this, we were doing our last one.
Spirit dentro!
And just like that, the race has ended. And as the car re-enters the pits, you can hear the excitement of everyone who competed. This is another great thing about the Campionato Dimenticato. The sheer happiness that everyone is showing during the races is really unmatched. And for our team, we bring home a P9, gaining us 2 points. For our first race, it's not bad. For the creativity podium, Andrea Moda got P3, the Simtech Reborn got P2, and the Polenta March with his fake presentation got P1. Deserved here, really. And for the main event, the Water Wolf came in 3rd position, the Zack Speed in 2nd, and the DKT Arrows wins again in the Campionato Dimenticato.
E vince la prima tappa, i campioni in carica trionfano anche a Milano, i Di
And with that, the first round of Campionato Dimenticato comes to an end. I still have a lot to learn about in racing in general and both in this championship, but I'm sure that race by race I will be able to get better. But for now, it is what it is. So thanks for watching and see you in the next one.